Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chan. Let's get into Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's go. So Ken comes into Trisha's office and asks what she's doing, and she lets us know that she's been engineering for 18 years. But when she's talking about what she really wants to do, she is so enthused. She wants to open up her own gym, and she says she wants to train because she loves making people feel good. Then Ken lets her know that she has the best multitasker ever. He will be there for everything that she needs to do. And he said that he definitely supports her because that is her passion. So then the conversation goes to Marquez, how he came in the party, how he was cheersing it up. And then she said she went in to comb her daughter's hair and she was like, he's no longer dad to me. He's Marquez or him. Right? And they talked about how Xavier had told him, to get up from the table or whatever. And then she was like, Marquez was there the whole weekend and did not see the kids for the rest of the weekend. And she just wants him to have a good relationship with the children. So then when he hits her with, are you ready to get married again? This is her disposition. Her response was kinda, sorta, something like that. He's like, you're not supposed to be doubtful. Then she goes in the confessional and says that it's not Ken, it's the marriage part, right? She doesn't want to make a 13-year mistake. Then he comes in and says, I know I'm for Trish and Trish is for me, and I understand what her hesitation is, but I'm going to be here. Ken, I'm sorry, sir. Trish does not want to marry you. There's no way. Because after the conversation with Marquez, it's clearly Trish holding this whole thing up. All she has to do is go down and fix a piece of paper and it can be over Tuesday. So Maurice has come over to Martell's house to check the temperature. He was like, did you get it all out? And Martell was like, I think so. I didn't even mean to do all that. But if he comes for me, I'm going to come for him. And Maurice seems to think that they have a problem since they broke up Scolt. And Marceau may feel a certain way because Scolt is on buildings, right? Maurice says they have a path of destruction because one time they're up and then the next time they're down. But Maurice does not want any more secrets to come out. So Martell said that what he was talking about under that pavilion is something that he never meant to say ever. But he felt like Marceau should have cared more. But Maurice said, when you get hurt, that's what you want to do is hurt people. That's exactly what Martell does. So then the conversation goes to Mel, right? And Maurice says something like, when it comes to Mel, you don't need proof when an insinuation will do. And he said that he's given Mel a lot of grace over the years. Like, what has Maurice had to give Mel grace for? Like, they've never had any problems, right? Up until this year, Maurice hasn't even really come to play on the show. So then Maurice said that Mel is famous because of Martell. She didn't want him to embarrass her, but due to the fact he did embarrass her, now she's tactical Mel. She's not the bubbly Mel anymore. When has she ever been tactical towards Maurice? Is she tactical? I don't see her being tactical. I see her as acting accordingly to her husband cheating on her and having a baby on her. Maurice, I don't even know where you been up until this season. So Trish has come to see Kimmy to talk about her entrepreneurial spirit of getting a commercial building so she can open her own gym. And Kimmy was explaining to her, it's be hard work. You can't afford employees at first. But Trish is so enthusiastic about this. Like when she speaks about opening her own gym, she has everything you would think that she would have for Ken. Like her head is up, her eyes are wide. She is focused. You know what I'm saying? This is what she wants. So then Kimmy goes into talking about a conversation that she had with Mel about Maurice having lipstick allegedly on his lips, right? And she said she hadn't heard it anywhere. Trish said she hadn't heard it anywhere. And she said it must have been one of Mel's Facebook groups. But she said Mel also said that you won't hear me saying anything else about it. Like, this has really bothered Kimmy. And she said she felt like Mel should have come to her and said, I know you don't want to talk about the arrest, but this is what's out in the streets. She came to you. And you wouldn't answer any questions, and she wouldn't answer any of your questions, and here you are. Then Kimmy asked Trish, is she coming to Martell's open house? She was like, I don't know. She was like, you know that Fletch was the one that trying to hook me and Martell up. And Kimmy was like, no. And Trish said that was 4 years ago. And she was like, I thought that was weird. Then this happened. They had gone to this flashback where Martell told Trish that Fletch was trying to hook them up. So then Kim is like, didn't Fletcher know that you were married and Martell was in a situation? And then she was like, that's why you don't want to go. And Trish was like, I would think those would be boundaries that Chris would not cross. So we'll see how that's going to work. Well, we kind of know how that's going to work. So Martell's therapist has come over because her office building was too noisy, right? So they sit down. Why does Martell not even wear socks? Right? So they're sitting down talking. She asked him, let's get into it. What are your goals? His response is to just raise some great kids. She was like, that's good, but however, what is your purpose? Martell doesn't even have a purpose. All he can talk about is the kids. She said, that's great for short-term goals, but what is it that you want to do? Martell said if he does what he wants to do, he's going to be an absent father. Martell doesn't even know what he wants to do. So then as she's talking to him, she's like, you owe it to yourself and your kids to be a better person. Then Martell said, you know what? I'm making excuses. Let me stop having excuses. But what I would like to know is, what is it that he would be working on that is his purpose? He said he could do it at 11, 12 o'clock at night when they're asleep. What about them 7 days when they're not there? You could be working on something then. So then she says, we've been working on the surface. We need to go with the inner substance. You got to have something to have inner substance. And he doesn't talk about himself. He talks about how he's easy to cut things off, but there are certain people. He said there are certain things he can't let go of, and people play a big part in that. Martell has no idea who he is as a man. She asked Martell, like, what else could he work on? Martell said, I think that's it. And then he said, well, since I'm talking to you, you tell me what I need to work on. He has no idea who he is. And then she said, you need a vision. People without visions perish. And you need to pray more. He was like, yeah, I need to pray. This is a lost soul. So we're at the open house. Everybody has come in. Kimmy is, of course, with Maurice because Maurice said Kimmy was not going to be mad at Martell. They said they're very proud of Martell. Trish is nervous because she hasn't seen Martell since all of the hoopla has started. And then as they are toasting, the men get ready and go outside. Y'all, I didn't even really realize that Marceau and Tisha wasn't even on this episode. But not Martell and Ken out here looking like twins, right? Fletcher asked about Marceau, and then they mentioned the little situation that him and Martell had got into. Martell was talking about, I'm not the initiator. I'm never the initiator. And then it went on with that. So then Ken chimes in and said that Martell and Marceau is like him and Marquez. He doesn't have an issue with Marquez other than the fact that Marquez is not present, right? So that's their conversation. And then Chris is trying to get into it. And then it goes another direction. Tristan sat here with Nell and told Nell that the way she was trying to figure out how Martell could find her out of all the people, she said Martell told her Chris used to see you at the gym and he said I should reach out to you. Baby, the music changed. Honey, Nell said, was Martell separated? Trish said, I don't think the ink was dry on the paper or not even had been on the paper. Baby, Nell made a beeline for outside. She said, you are requested in here because apparently you are the one who hooked up Trish and Martell. And everybody left. Child, Nell came back and said that Fletch deceived Mel and them. Martell said, why y'all talking about this in my open house? This some evil stuff. I'm trying to sell this house. So now Trish ready to go, right? Then Ken is like, no, we got to get to the bottom of this. Because Martell said, Chris said, I didn't tell him to reach out. Martell said, no. She was like, she reiterated, you told me that Chris said he needed to reach out to me. So now they're trying to fix it. Then as Chris is trying to explain, Martell says, don't dig no hole. A mess. Then they go to this flashback. Who said that? Ken said it's always a little bit more to the story and it's not adding up. Ken said they're going to get to the bottom of it. See y'all later.